Hello and welcome to the third week of our 28-day Healthy Skin Challenge. I am so delighted that you've joined. My name is Aisha and I'm going to be guiding you through the actual process that helps me achieve noticeable results with my clients. I've been doing this work for over 15 years, and in that time I've learned different techniques and all about the ways that the skin can actually rejuvenate itself from the inside. Now, the whole idea of the challenge is that we simplify a lot of the science that is involved with understanding about healthy skin and unhealthy skin. Like, what are the causes and how do we actually address the real problems that causes your skin to feel tight, suffer with dryness, pigmentation, acne, rosacea, you name it. There are so many different concerns that women and men come to see me with, and it's pretty much all the same thing. When I am looking at the skin, the first thing that I want to ensure before we even get into skin conditioning and skin correction is that we've actually eliminated a lot of the irritants and things that tear down the barrier function of our skin. So this is what actually dictates how healthy it behaves. This is the immune system of our skin. And in the first week's video, I actually explain a lot about elimination. I also explain about how to strengthen your skin with conditioning. Now, when you get to the point of skin correction, we can really start to examine more closely at the root causes of premature aging and damaged skin. So what are they? Well, I like to term everything as inflammation because it just gives you a very clear understanding of the reasons why our skin isn't behaving normally. And when we have inflammation, we get it from three different factors. There is inflammation from sun and environmental exposure that causes radiation. So if you're either sunbathing or even day to day living in a warmer climate, or even if you're living in England and you never see enough sun, we are actually absorbing UV radiation. We also get it when we use sunbeds, which is the reason why I don't advocate people using sunbeds, because you may have seen reports that state that having too much UV radiation can actually lead you to developing cancerous cells. So UV radiation basically tears down the DNA, the actual healthy software within our skin cells. And this dictates how those cells behave. So that's why too much sun can actually cause skin cancer. Now, we have got things within our skin that help to protect us against UV, and that would be the pigment. Now, those of us who can tan have a better protection mechanism against radiation because we go brown, whereas people who go red obviously burn and they don't have as much of that natural anti-aging ingredient that protects them from premature aging. If you were to see a dark person, anyone who has sort of the ability to stay in sunlight for more than 30 minutes without burning, their skin has a natural SPF of 13. And as a result of that, they often don't see lines until they're in their 50s, which really gives you an idea of how differently the skin can respond in sunlight depending on how much pigment you have. Because anyone who's a fair and Irish skinned person, they will see lines before the age of 30. So we know that sunlight has a big impact. The other thing that has a big impact is free radical attack. And free radicals are oxidative stress. That's the technical term. Now, what does that really mean? That just means that there is a free radical which is missing an electron, and in order to get stabilized, it goes out looking for that missing electron and it robs it off another cell. Now, in the process of doing that, it leads to a lot of havoc, a lot of chaos. And around our cells, we have these membranes, and when they get attacked, unfortunately, it also causes DNA damage, which is why free radicals are cited as being a major factor in causing age-related issues. So we know our cells can maintain themselves and remain healthy as long as their DNA is, not destroyed, as long as that DNA does not become mutated. So free radicals have got the opposite. There is, in nature, everything is balanced. And this is where antioxidants are so important. So antioxidants, you may have read about superfoods being healthy for your body and preventing disease and aging. And that's because they're able to actually sacrifice themselves and be that missing electron for the cell. And as a result, they help to neutralize and ensure that the cell remains protected against free radical attack. So when we eat things like blueberries, green tea, there are countless superfoods that you can actually take now. And it's important to obviously have lots of green leafy vegetables. The more diverse the color of food you eat, the better. The more raw it is, the better. And we know that antioxidants are actually also produced within our own cells. So this is where we differ genetically. Some people just have higher oxidant levels than others. And you can look at your grandparents, look at your parents, and that will give you a good idea of the type of genes that you've been born with and how they aged. But when it comes to looking at skincare, skincare also actually impacts the health of our skin because we need this barrier function intact. It's like an ozone layer in order to deflect away that radiation and free radicals. So if your barrier function has been damaged, you're also going to absorb a lot more UV radiation. And what causes our barrier function to become destroyed is sunlight, then the chemical ingredients in our skincare irritate. Anything that inflames the skin is going to cause a disruption. And more scientists are becoming much more observant of the bacteria that's on our skin. Not the bad bacteria, but the good bacteria. So just like your gut, your skin also has a whole ecosystem of bacteria, and it needs to function in order to actually maintain our immune system. So our immune system is really what dictates a lot about how we fight infection and how we also age. And if you have a healthy, intact ecosystem, then your skin is going to thrive. Whereas if you're using loads of detergents like humectants, things that basically foam up or that remove oils and strip your skin, then the barrier function is not going to be healthy. And I'm all about reversing that damage. My whole treatment approach is actually built on ensuring that the barrier function gets put back into place, because there are key ingredients that have been proven for over 40 years now to do that. And this is where the advancements were made probably, way back. I think it was in the late sort of early 90s that we started to see this advancement of active ingredients. So in all this time, we've actually been able to identify now what are the ingredients that can really get into the living layer of your skin and reverse this damage. So before you actually get started on any program, I think it's really important to have a proper skin analysis done. So if you are interested in actually getting your skin analyzed, there are a few ways that you can do that. You can see a professional face-to-face. And there are some certified professionals all throughout the country who you can find via our website. If you go to the website is medicalbeauty.com, and if you go to find your nearest stockist, just type in your postcode and their names and details will come up. Now, when you go for a consultation, it gives a practitioner a chance to get to know you better in terms of your history, in terms of what's going on with your lifestyle, and they can actually help to really identify what is going on underneath your skin, like not just on the surface, because we really want to target the ingredients that we're using with you to ensure that they are the right ones, the right fit for your skin, because everyone is different. The other thing they'll be able to do is a skin analysis using a special light called a wood stamp. And this is my wood stamp, and I've used it for many years now. It's a special blue light that you actually shine on the skin, and then underneath that you can actually start to see the different color changes. So I'm just going to show you an example. This is actually my own skin of what it looks like. So if you take a look, you can see under the wood lamp, this is when I had loads of pigmentation, loads of skin damage. I am about 4 different shades of brown in this picture. And if you actually look through the wood lamp, you can see oiliness, you can see hydration, because a lot of the time people believe that their skin is dehydrated, meaning it doesn't have water in it, but actually that's not the case. They have plenty of hydration. They may lack some oil, and we can really take a close look and see what are the real measurements of health within your skin. So in my case, I obviously had a lot of damage. I was unfortunately exposed to too much sunlight whilst learning how to surf, and as a result of not having any sunscreen on, in a matter of days I got a lot of inflammation, especially around the lower part of my face, where you can see I got loads of broken capillaries and pigmentation. And this is where the skin is actually the thinnest. So it's really helpful when you're also looking at pigmentation to be able to use the wood stamp, because if you have melasma, there might be pigment that hasn't yet appeared on the skin surface, which you can actually see underneath the light. So it's a really important tool, and it's one that allows us to personalize your routine and also tell you exactly where you need to be using your products. The difference, I'd say, with coming to see a person that is a professional and, for example, maybe getting advice via email, is that in the long term, once you've sort of like started on any program, it does need to evolve and be tweaked. And we believe in a very progressive approach, meaning the strength of your routine actually increases. So along the way, once your routine sort of has been set, it is going to change. And a therapist or any kind of practitioner who is trained will be able to make and give you the right levels of adjustment to your routine. So you're progressing through different strengths of product, and you're often not repeat purchasing the same things that you've bought in the past, which I didn't realize for a lot of people is slightly strange, because, you know, if you like using a moisturizer, it's not that you have to stop using it. It's just that because your skin is changing, you need a different level of ingredient in order to up the result, because that damage that you have in your skin is not just there on the surface. And sometimes people come to see me having had treatments done, and they're like, I'm delighted with the results, I'm ready to like go on to maintenance. And I have to actually remind them and show them underneath the woods lamp that they still have like another 50% to go. So it's well worth being able to check in and have your routine updated throughout the course, and ensure that you are upping your game and you're not just like plateauing, because, you know, the strengths are out there now. It's possible to use these ingredients at home. But if you are at home and you want to access some advice just to kind of get you started and to kickstart your regimen, do get in touch via the online consultation form via the website. It's completely free of charge, and you will receive personalized advice from our skin whisperers, who will be able to tell you about what kind of skin you have, because I mean, that's a real game changer, and also give you personalized tips and advice on how to get started with your regimen. So a lot about the advice that I'm going to be giving today is focused on ensuring that the ingredients you have in your arsenal, the ingredients you have in your products, are effective. Because the thing with skin change, and I know from my own experience having treated my pigmentation, is that unless we are using active ingredients that speed up the cell renewal rate, we aren't going anywhere. Your ingredients can be very soothing, they can reduce inflammation, they can actually help, you know, calm and, you know, brighten and even plump the skin. But the difficulty is that unless you've got an ingredient called vitamin A in your regimen, and a version of vitamin A that actually really works, you aren't going to reverse the damage, because you're not able to address and stimulate the increase in cell production that's needed. So after the age of 30, for example, we stop making collagen. We don't make it you know, in the way that we should make it, because we're obviously still getting lots of sun exposure. It's fine before the age of 30, you know, if you want to injure your skin, you have got the ability to recover and repair. And really, if you think about it, that's what aging is. It's not your age, it is your ability to recover from injury. So these ingredients sort of subsidize what you've lost, and they put back in healthy skin function. So that means behavior. Because if you've had a lot of DNA damage, the only way to reverse that is with vitamin A. And it is the ingredient that, you know, at its time when it was first discovered, it was discovered by a dermatologist called Klipman, who was looking for a cure to help his acne patients. And he found that vitamin A was able to regulate sebum production. So the sebum in the skin, the amount would shrink, and things like even pigment production was also normalized. So there have been countless studies, and the thing with vitamin A is that it's been around for such a long time, but it's all about having the right version. If you don't have it with a delivery mechanism, you aren't going to get it effectively into the skin. And what people don't realize is that a lot of product that we buy doesn't go anywhere. It just literally sits on the surface. So even if your skin product is meant to be active, it is only sitting there. It isn't delivered through the pore into the layer of skin where it can actually communicate its message. we use ingredients that kind of go beyond just being plant-based and organic. We actually use purified, molecularly purified ingredients that are what we call chirally correct, and this is Nobel Prize winning chemistry. So we're targeting the receptor on the skin cell to ensure that 100% of the time our ingredient is actually reaching and doing its job. So this kind of takes it into a whole another realm. But the thing with vitamin A is that it needs to be encapsulated. We encapsulate it in a protein. That encapsulation ensures that the strength of vitamin A can be a lot higher. So you can start with 2% retinol, 4, you can go up to 8, 12. These strengths are really what get into reversing scarred skin as well. So anything like aging, photo damage, lines around the eyes, on the cheeks, acne scarring as well, that's all issues that are found in the dermis. So even if you decide that you want to go for a deep peel and you want to burn off the top layer of your skin, unfortunately, you are not targeting the area of the problem, and you may even be making your skin a lot unhealthier because you've just literally struck off and taken away the barrier function, and you're just expecting from that injury that your skin's going to recover 100%, which is not the case at all. So vitamin A enhances the barrier function of the skin. It puts back in what's been lost. So it retains water. It stops you suffering with symptoms like dryness. It will also regulate pigment production, and it will reverse pigmentation and melasma, but you have to be using it at the right strengths. And we like to use it at a 2% strength to start off with. A product like Define is a combination of vitamin A and AHAs, which are alpha hydroxy acids. You need 3 at least to actually get the engine of the skin going. So there are products like Define, which are very convenient to use because they're in 2-in-1. You're actually going to find Define in this starter kit, which is for pigmentation, called the Even Kit. And this lasts for 28 days. So you've got a cleanser called Purity Clean, which is a 5% lactic acid cleanser. And that is a great way to get started with using ingredients that mildly resurface and exfoliate your skin. Very refreshing. It really gets into the pores and it clears out any oil that's in the pores, so those active ingredients can penetrate even better. And these packs actually have the sort of recipe for combining active ingredients together. It's like everything's been worked out for you, because when it comes to stimulating and correcting, so stimulating an increase in renewal and correcting the behavior of the skin, the two kind of go hand in hand. You need a combination of different ingredients. No one seems to talk about the fact that retinol, it does a lot, but it needs to be combined with an AHA. So if you are using it and you're finding the results are really slow, then it's because you haven't got the right kind of AHA. And we prefer to use purified AHAs, lactic, malic, tartaric, because they're less irritating on the skin. And that is so important because we don't want to cause any inflammation. So we avoid using glycolic acid, for example. And there are, as I said, there are lots of strengths of AHA products as well. You could, if you're pregnant. The only thing with vitamin A is you can't use it if you're pregnant or breastfeeding. You could use Defy, which is an AHA cream. And later on in the week, I'm going to be going through all the suitable products that actually really are targeted towards skin correction. So that will be the post after this one. And you will also get to see how you can actually combine those products depending on the problem that you're experiencing.